Hi, hello, good afternoon. Apparently, it is the 3rd of February today. I wasn't even aware we were even in February. And I missed my appointment at the GP surgery to check on my mental health and well-being. I just have no idea what day of the week it is just lately. I'm literally just waking up, doing whatever I can to try and get rehoused, and then going back to sleep. That has become my life. Wake up, apply for somewhere to move to, wait to see what estate agent gets back to me and see what excuse they give me for not even allowing me to view a house, and then going back to sleep. It's just been so mentally and physically exhausting to deal with. I never thought it would be this hard or this difficult. I mean, in 2012, it was so different because I wasn't given the right information. I remember being issued a Section 21 and then I had to go to court. It was so strange because a lot of people kept saying to me, well, no, you've had a Section 21. You shouldn't have to go to court. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work that quick. And I went to court and there was none of this, you've been Section 21 because you're in rent arrears. You need to pay your rent. And I was like, I can't pay my rent because the DWP haven't paid me. I haven't been paid housing from my local council. I have 4 employers and none of them have paid me. I literally lived 6 months with no money in the bank. I had to use the food bank, and I also had to have food at work because I work in hospitality and catering. I always knew that I would get 1 free meal, so I was kind of lucky in that respect to a degree. And I would go to the places that are ran by people like the Salvation Army for a free hot meal in the evening. And I did that for 6 months. Luckily, I was on my own back then. I didn't have any children to care for. And I just remember going to the Citizen Advice Bureau and saying, look, I've been Section 21. Is this legal? Is this legal? What do I need to do? What do I need to do? And they said, pay your rent, and it won't be valid anymore. They never told me to go to the council house. They never told me to go to the council and say, look, I'm being made homeless. I can't pay my rent. How can I be supported? None of this advice was given in 2012 at all. And what tipped me over the scales about the whole situation was on the 1st of January in 2013. My next door neighbour had a fight with someone again. I'd been there 4 years, and there mustn't have been a day that went by that I wouldn't come back to the premises where I was renting, where there wouldn't be a smashed window or a broken door or just evidence that somebody had been fighting in the common areas of where the apartment was. And my friend left because it was New Year's Eve and I had just had a party to welcome in the new year. Even though I was in debt, I thought, what? It's a new year. Let's just do it, yeah? So I remember opening the door and the walls were just covered in blood. And it was all over the floor. It was all over the fire door. It was all up the staircase. And there was drag marks where the blood had obviously come out of someone and then been dragged into my next door neighbour's apartment because of the direction the blood was in. And I phoned the police and I was so scared. Nobody stayed with me. My friends all went home because I said, look, just go home. I don't know what's happened. I think someone might have been murdered. That's how serious it was. And I phoned 999 and I said, I think someone's been killed next door to where I live. And they turned up and they knocked on my door and they said, what's the matter? And I said, can't you see? There's blood everywhere. And so he knocked on his door and they said, hello, what's going on here? Where's all this blood come from? And he went, it's that fucking bitch, isn't it? She's phoned you. And I just remember like putting a chair against the door to barricade myself in and sleeping with a kitchen knife next to me. I was so scared. And I contacted my housing officers, who at the time was Jefferson Housing. Now it's called Stonewater. And I wrote them an email and I said, there's been an incident at the premises. I don't feel safe. I think my neighbour's going to try and kill me because I've reported him to the police. I don't know what he's done. I don't know how severely injured somebody was early hours of this morning. But I didn't hear any shouting. I didn't hear anybody screaming for help or anything. It was really weird. And all they did was send me another letter to say that I owed them money, which even to this day, I know I never owed them a penny. And but I just had to get out of there. I had to get out of that apartment. I had to get away. And I just remember sending them a letter saying, I'm vacating the premises in April. I've had enough. And I left. And again, so because I left, one, because I was in debt, and two, because I was scared fucking shitless. And I thought someone was going to try and murder me in my bed. The council didn't help me. This time round, since October, it's been a whole different ballgame. And I, again, have been mistreated by the council. But at the moment, I'm under this really amazing member of staff. And I've even put that in my complaints that, if this person can do their job properly, why can't everybody who works for you? And they just keep coming back with all these shitty answers and really condescending and really patronising, like, oh, we understand you must be stressed. We understand because of your illness, so there's any disabilities, that maybe you're not understanding the process in which we have to go through when somebody applies for us to look at them as someone who's potentially going to be made homeless. What a load of bullshit. I have had an organisation called P3 help me since October of last year. And if you're turning around and saying that I'm getting confused and I'm not understanding what's going on, what are you trying to say about them? Because they have done nothing but attend every meeting that I've asked them to attend for me. They have wrote emails for me on my behalf. They've sent documents to council on my behalf. They deal with people on a daily basis who are facing homelessness. And they're telling them they don't know how to do their job properly either. And it's just so frustrating because the law is supposed to be changing to support tenants. But it hasn't changed enough, in my opinion. If anything, it's just going to make it harder for anyone looking for somewhere to live. The last estate agent I spoke to told me I had to be earning £3,000 a month to rent a house that was on the rental market for £900. Or I needed a guarantor who was earning £35,000 a year. And I said to her, look, I'm being funny. I've rented the same house for 10 years. I've never missed a payment. I've never missed any money. I mean, in 2012, it was different. I was really, really struggling because of my dyslexia, my dyspraxia, my dyscalculia. I was really ill as well. So I literally was just constantly taking medication from the doctors to fight off infections. And even when I was made homeless, I was still taking these drugs. So a lot of back then is a bit of a blur to me because I still remember going to work. I still remember coming home and my hands bleeding because of the washing up liquid was so strong. My feet constantly wet and rotten, going literally like I'd got trench foot because of the poor conditions in the kitchens that I worked in. But I did it, I was young, I was naive, I was stupid. Would I do it now? No. Would I expect anyone else to do it? No, I wouldn't. And it was just heart-rendering to think what you put yourself through when you don't feel you have any other choice in life, and that you're doing it to survive. And that's basically what I was doing. I was doing it to survive. And I do say that to my children. You don't realise how lucky you are, and I hope that they never have to go through what I've had to go through. But no one knows what the future holds. So who knows? But at the moment, trying to get rehoused is just so mentally and physically draining. And there's all these properties out there that are listed online every single week, every single day. And I'm being refused to even view any of them because I'm on universal credit. And I've said to the estate agents, you're taking the fucking piss, because there are so many people on UC now because they got rid of all the old legacy benefits. So I have friends, I have family who are on universal credit, but they all work. They all have full-time jobs, but they've got children. So they're entitled to child tax credits or working tax credit, which is now been abolished and is part of universal credit. And sorry, I just had something stuck in my tooth. And yet they're being discriminated against, like me. And it's just heart-rending that there's so many people out there who are facing homelessness, who are being discriminated against because they've been put in a situation where, because the government have now said universal credit's going to cover everything, it's become a dirty word. It's become something to be ashamed of, something that, you don't want people to know about. Whereas if you were like, oh, I'm on working tax credit, or I'm on child benefits, or I'm on child tax credit, it didn't sound as bad. Because people would be like, oh, okay, so you've got kids, and because you've got children, maybe you can't work as many hours as you would have if you were a single person. So you're getting help from the government. And then when your child is in full-time education, or, there'll be a window of opportunity where you may be able to go back to work, and then you might not need to claim that money anymore. But with UC, it's just so tainted by society, by people. And, and when I have to fill out forms and stuff, I